Welcome. If you're watching this, you're probably someone who thinks carefully about money. Maybe you're retired or getting close. Maybe you're helping an aging parent figure out their next car. Or maybe you're just tired of gas prices that go up every other week, tired of repair bills that arrive without warning, and tired of insurance premiums that seem to climb every single year, no matter what you do. Today, we're going to talk about something that has the potential to change all of that. Or at least something that could change all of that, depending on how the next 12 to 18 months unfold. The Tesla Model 2, a smaller, more affordable Tesla that has been talked about, rumored, delayed, and speculated over for years. And right now, in 2026, the conversation around this car is more serious than it has ever been. Now, before we go a single second further, I need to be very clear with you. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial advice, tax advice, investment advice, or a recommendation to purchase any specific product. Significant portions of this video, particularly around the Tesla Model 2's price, features, production timeline, and specifications, are based on unconfirmed industry rumors, analyst speculation, and third-party reporting. Tesla has not officially confirmed all details discussed here. A lot of what you'll hear in the next 20-plus minutes is grounded in solid research, but some of it is still in the realm of what analysts expect, what insiders have reportedly said, and what makes logical sense given the competitive pressures in the global car market. I'll be very clear every single time we're talking about something confirmed versus something that is still a rumor or expectation. That's a promise. Here's what we're covering today. First, the price question. Where does $15,990 come from? And is it real? We're also going to explain something most videos haven't touched on. The global competitive reason why Tesla may actually need to hit a price close to that number. Second, the production status. What do we actually know? What are analysts saying? And why does the timeline matter so much for buyers? Third, what features Tesla would likely have to remove to get to a lower price point? And this goes deeper than most videos go. Fourth, insurance savings. A section most videos skip entirely, and it may be the most important one for people on a fixed income. Fifth, gas and ownership math. Real numbers, specific examples. Sixth, the non-financial benefits of FSD for older drivers. Independence, doctor visits, quality of life. And seventh, rebates, tax benefits, risks, and the honest, balanced truth about whether this car lives up to the hype. Let's go. So, where does the headline number come from? Let me be direct. As of the time this video was researched, Tesla has not officially announced a $15,990 price for any vehicle. That number circulates widely on YouTube and across EV enthusiast websites, but it does not appear in any official Tesla communication or confirmed press release. The $15,990 figure comes from reports on a potential ultra-low-cost export trim, not the expected US base price of around $25,000. So, why does everyone keep saying it? There are actually two separate threads here, and understanding both of them is important. Thread 1, incentive stacking in the United States. Based on multiple industry reports and analyst estimates, the most widely discussed base price for the Model 2, sometimes called Project Redwood internally at Tesla, is approximately $25,000 before any discounts or incentives. Now, in certain U.S. states, buyers have historically been able to stack multiple savings programs on top of one another to bring that effective purchase price down dramatically. We're going to cover that in detail in our incentive section. The short version is that some buyers in some states could realistically bring an effective out-of-pocket cost down toward the mid to upper teens, depending on income and location. But, and this is critical, that requires specific eligibility and specific state programs. It is not a universal price. We'll give you the honest breakdown in Section 7. Thread 2. And this is the part most videos completely miss. Global competitive pressure. Here is the real reason why the $15,000 to $25,000 conversation is not just hype. It's economics. Tesla is in an intense ongoing price war with Chinese automakers, most notably BYD, which stands for Build Your Dreams. And BYD has been absolutely aggressive. According to reporting from Fortune, BYD sells its Seagull hatchback, known as the Dolphin Surf in Europe, for under $8,000 in China. That is not a typo. Under $8,000 for a new electric vehicle with decent range and features, though export versions are typically priced $10,000 to $12,000, equivalent due to tariffs and market adjustments. Now, BYD does not currently sell passenger vehicles in the United States. They're blocked by significant tariffs, but they sell in Europe, in Latin America, in Southeast Asia, and in China, which is Tesla's second largest market. China accounted for 33% of Tesla's global sales in 2023, according to UK-based consultancy Row Motion. And here's where it gets really important for understanding Tesla's pricing strategy. Tesla often tests the bottom of its pricing power in China first, trimming sticker prices or offering cheap financing to keep volumes up against BYD and other rivals. Those experiments reveal how low Tesla can profitably go, and they set expectations for global buyers. In other words, the fierce competition happening in China right now is directly shaping what Tesla needs to charge everywhere else. If Tesla wants to remain relevant in global markets where BYD is undercutting them by 30 to 50%, they need a genuinely affordable product, not a $25,000 car with $7,000 in incentives, a car that is fundamentally cheaper to build. According to reports, Tesla has revived internal projects in China, referred to as NV91 and NV93, aiming to bring a $25,000 vehicle to life as a direct response to competitive pressure from BYD and other Chinese automakers. So, the $15,000 to $16,000 number that circulates so widely, it likely reflects a combination of two things: the aggressive incentive stacking available in some states, and the fact that Tesla genuinely needs to produce a cheaper car to compete globally, not as charity, as business survival in key markets. That is a fundamentally different and more credible reason to believe affordable Tesla pricing is coming than Elon said so on Twitter. This section is where we need to be the most careful, because this is where the gap between rumor and reality is the widest. Let me give you the honest picture, sourced from reputable industry analysts and outlets. What is confirmed? Tesla CEO Elon Musk has publicly described a next-generation, more affordable vehicle. Tesla's chief designer, Franz von Holzhausen, said that rumors of abandoning the $25,000 Model 2 project were greatly exaggerated and advised people to stay tuned. That is about as close to an official acknowledgement as we have gotten. According to reporting from Notebook Check, the expected Model 2 is described by Musk as smaller to be clear, with a 54 kilowatt-hour battery that should provide about 250 miles of range and next-generation AI-5 FSD hardware. What analysts are saying about timing? Analysts at Evercore who were given a tour of the Giga Texas facility in Austin told Bloomberg that the $25,000 vehicle is increasingly a 2027 story, with best case 2026 production somewhere around 500,000 units. Read that carefully. Their optimistic case for 2026 is 500,000 units. Their realistic expectation for meaningful volume is 2027. Other industry trackers note that with Tesla's production capacity tied up by the robo-taxi, roadster, and semi projects, there is little reason to expect the Model 2 to surface before mid to late 2027. If the project does make it into the production queue for 2027, pre-order availability could appear in late 2026. What about the production location? We've seen some videos and online articles mention a factory in Georgia. We searched specifically for credible sourcing on this, and we found none. We do not want to repeat that claim because we cannot verify it. What we can tell you is this: multiple reputable outlets and industry analysts expect initial assembly to start at Tesla's Austin, Texas facility, known as Giga Texas, with possible expansion to new lines in Mexico, China's Giga Shanghai, and Germany's Giga Berlin. Meaningful volume ramp is not expected until 2026 at the earliest, and more likely 2027. The Mexico Gigafactory has been frequently mentioned as a likely long-term production hub for the affordable model, particularly for serving the North American market. But that factory's timeline has also shifted repeatedly. The bottom line on production: the Model 2, or whatever Tesla officially names this vehicle, is not currently in full mass production. Current reporting shows a mix of company hints, analyst projections, and speculative journalism. Tesla has publicly signaled work on more affordable next-generation vehicles, but details and firm confirmations have been inconsistent across earnings calls and communications. Some sources suggest limited pilot production may be underway or imminent at Giga Texas. Others say meaningful consumer availability is 2027 at the earliest. What we can say with reasonable confidence is this: the car is real as a project. The competitive and financial logic for building it is real, and the timeline, based on the most credible analyst voices, points to sometime between late 2026 and 2027 for actual consumer availability in meaningful numbers. If you are planning your retirement budget around buying one in the next 6 months, plan for uncertainty. If you're thinking 2 years out, it becomes a much more realistic conversation. Here's a section that matters enormously for buyers on a fixed income, because knowing exactly what you're not getting is just as important as knowing what you are. To hit a $25,000 price point and potentially lower in incentive-rich scenarios, Tesla would have to make significant design and feature compromises. Let's walk through what analysts and insiders believe those would be, and what each trade-off means for everyday drivers, especially seniors. Battery, smaller, and chemistry different. According to Notebook Check's reporting, the expected battery pack is around 54 kilowatt hours, delivering approximately 250 miles of EPA estimated range. For comparison, a standard Model 3 today offers roughly 340 miles of range. So, you're giving up roughly 90 miles of range on the highway. For a retiree who drives locally, grocery runs, doctor appointments, visiting family within 50 miles, 250 miles of range is more than sufficient for a week or two of normal driving on a single charge. For a family doing long road trips without planning ahead, it's a more meaningful limitation. The battery chemistry would likely be LFP, lithium iron phosphate, rather than the nickel-based chemistry in Tesla's more expensive models. For most daily drivers, this is actually a positive trade-off. LFP batteries can be charged to 100% every day without meaningful degradation. They're safer against thermal runaway, and they have a longer cycle life, which is ideal for someone who plans to keep the car for a decade or more. Interior. Noticeably more basic. This is where the everyday experience changes most visibly. Reports and analyst renderings consistently suggest the Model 2 interior would feature a smaller display, likely around 13 inches rather than the 15.4-inch screen in a Model 3. You would likely have no rear entertainment screen. You would likely have manually adjusting seats in the base trim, not power seats. The seat materials would be durable textiles, likely recycled, rather than the premium vegan leather in pricier Teslas. Some enthusiasts describe this as similar to what Tesla did when it launched cheaper versions of the Model 3 and Model Y in late 2025. To get the Model Y standard under $40,000, Tesla reportedly removed more than 20 features, from light bars to reduced battery pack capacity. The Model 2 would take that philosophy further. What does this mean for seniors specifically? The touchscreen dependency is real and worth thinking through honestly. Every climate adjustment, mirror position, gear selection, and navigation input goes through a touch screen. There are no physical knobs for most functions. If you are someone who finds smartphone navigation second nature, you will adapt. If you strongly prefer buttons and dials, this is a genuine quality of life concern. Not a deal breaker necessarily, but something to try in person before buying. Driver assistance. Hardware. Capable but streamlined. The Model 2 is expected to include Tesla's AI-5 hardware, their latest driver assistance computer, but likely in a configuration tuned for supervised FSD rather than the full suite found in the Model S or X. That said, for the use cases that matter most to seniors and families, highway navigation, automatic lane changes, adaptive cruise control, automatic parking, the system is expected to perform at a high level. Full robotaxi capability is not expected at this hardware tier, but for a co-pilot experience, it should be very capable. Manufacturing. The unboxed process. One of the primary reasons Tesla believes it can hit a lower price point is through a completely redesigned manufacturing process. Rather than building a car on a long traditional assembly line, Tesla's unboxed approach assembles the vehicle in modular subsections that are joined together near the end of the process. This reportedly reduces factory floor space needs significantly and cuts labor costs. Combined with the massive gigapress casting machines that stamp large sections of the chassis in one piece, rather than hundreds of welded parts, the manufacturing cost per vehicle can be brought down substantially. So, to summarize what you'd likely be giving up for that lower price, roughly 90 miles of maximum range compared to a Model 3, manual seat adjustment instead of power seats, a somewhat smaller touchscreen, more basic interior materials, and a streamlined, though still capable, driver assistance package. What you'd be keeping: Tesla's supercharger network access, over-the-air software updates, the FSD co-pilot experience, excellent long-term battery durability, and essentially zero traditional maintenance costs. For a retiree doing 10,000 miles a year of local driving, that trade-off math works out quite well. This is the section I promised not to skip, and I meant it. For most people watching this, especially those on a fixed income, insurance is one of the most painful recurring bills you deal with. And for seniors, it often gets worse with age, not better, even with a spotless driving record, because traditional insurers view age itself as a statistical risk factor. But something meaningful has shifted in 2026. The insurance industry is splitting into two camps. Traditional insurers, your geekos, your progressives, are still using models that penalize age. Technology-driven insurers are asking a different question. Not how old are you, but how does your car actually drive? Lemonade's autonomous driving discount. Lemonade is now reportedly offering approximately a 50% per mile discount for every mile driven with Tesla's full self-driving system engaged. Why? Because their actuarial data is reportedly showing that FSD-engaged miles have a significantly better safety profile than human-only miles. Lower accident probability means lower claims. Lower claims means a profitable insurer can pass those savings along. Let me put real numbers on this. Imagine a 70-year-old driver in Oregon. Let's call her Margaret. She drives about 8,000 miles a year, mostly local trips, doctor appointments, grocery runs, visits to her grandchildren. Under a traditional insurance policy, Margaret might be paying around $180 per month, roughly $2,160 a year, simply because of her age bracket. With a program like Lemonade's, if Margaret is using FSD for the majority of her miles, her monthly premium could drop to as low as $65 a month. That's approximately $780 per year. The difference? Over $1,300 every single year. Over a 10-year retirement, that is $13,000. That is meaningful money for anyone living on Social Security and a modest pension. Tesla's own insurance, the safety score. Tesla insurance uses real-time driving data, something called a safety score. It monitors actual behavior, how smoothly you brake, how closely you follow the car in front of you, how often you drive at night. Here is the thing about many senior drivers. They are often naturally cautious. They don't brake hard. They're not racing to merge. They drive during daylight. All of those characteristics that a traditional insurer penalizes by age bracket, Tesla insurance can actually reward through behavior. For seniors with calm, careful driving habits, Tesla insurance's safety score can reportedly lower premiums by an additional 20 to 40% compared to flat-rate policies. And on top of that, Tesla now offers up to an additional 10% discount for drivers who maintain FSD usage above 50% of their total miles. The more you let the car assist you, the cheaper the insurance gets. That is a remarkable alignment of safety and savings. A balanced note: Tesla insurance is not available in every state. Lemonade's autonomous program is newer and availability varies. Always call your current insurer and ask specifically, do you offer any discount for autonomous or technology-assisted driving? The answer may surprise you. Let's talk about fuel because this is where the math becomes genuinely compelling. As of early 2026, national average gas prices are hovering in the range of roughly $3.88 to $4.10 per gallon, with significant regional variation. Here's the comparison at 11,000 miles per year, close to the national average, in a 30-mile per gallon gas sedan. Annual fuel cost, approximately $1,466. Now, the Model 2, charging at home overnight at roughly 15 cents per kilowatt hour. Annual energy cost, approximately $402. Annual savings on fuel alone, over $1,060 per year. Over 10 years, more than $10,600 staying in your account instead of going to a gas station. But fuel is only part of the picture. No oil changes. At approximately $150 per change, 3 times a year, that's $450 annually. Simply gone from your expense list. Brake pads that rarely need replacing. The regenerative braking system uses the motor to slow the car, dramatically reducing brake pad wear. Many Tesla owners go the full life of the vehicle without a brake job. For most retirees, that's a repair bill they will simply never see. Fewer moving parts, fewer catastrophic surprises. An electric motor has roughly 20 moving parts. A gas engine has over 2,000. Every additional part is a potential failure point. The $3,000 surprise repair? Dramatically less likely. Let me build a real 10-year picture. Robert is 68, retired, living in Arizona, 10,000 miles a year. He currently drives a 2022 Toyota Camry, about 32 miles per gallon. 10-year Camry fuel costs at today's prices, roughly $12,500. Oil changes, 10 years, $4,500. 2 sets of brakes and miscellaneous wear, $2,800. 2 unexpected mechanical repairs, $2,000. Total 10-year running cost, approximately $21,800. Now, Robert's Model 2, home charging at 13 cents per kilowatt hour, 10 years of electricity, approximately $3,400. Minimal maintenance and miscellaneous, $500. Total 10-year running cost, approximately $3,900. Difference over 10 years, nearly $18,000. That is not a rounding error. That is a college contribution, a medical emergency fund, or simply the security of knowing your transportation costs are fixed and predictable, month after month, year after year. Now, I want to step away from the numbers for a few minutes, because there's something about this car that a spreadsheet cannot measure. There's a term that doctors and caregivers sometimes use, the driving cliff. It describes the moment, sometimes gradual, sometimes sudden, when an older adult loses their ability to drive safely. Vision changes, reaction time slows. Merging onto a highway becomes genuinely frightening. Driving at night with oncoming headlights becomes disorienting, and one day, the keys get taken away. For many older adults, losing the ability to drive independently is one of the most psychologically difficult losses of later life. Studies have linked it directly to increased rates of depression, social isolation, and accelerated physical decline. It means depending on others for every errand, every appointment, every lunch with a friend. Full self-driving, in its current supervised form, where the driver remains present and monitoring, serves as a bridge across that cliff. Imagine Arthur, 76 years old, arthritis in his hands, high-stress driving situations, busy intersections, highway merges, hospital parking structures, have started making him anxious. His wife has vertigo, and jerky acceleration makes her feel ill. Arthur enables Tesla's chill mode, which makes the car accelerate and brake with exceptional gentleness. He uses FSD for the highway stretches. The car handles the lane changes, the speed regulation, the gap management. Arthur remains the supervisor, but the cognitive load, the mental exhaustion of continuously processing a complex driving environment, is dramatically reduced. He reports that a 30-minute drive to visit his grandchildren no longer requires a nap afterward. Think about what that means. More visits, more connection, less isolation. For a spouse or adult child, helping an aging parent maintain independence, that is not a small thing. That could be years of additional autonomous, dignified mobility. Night driving, Glare from oncoming headlights is one of the most common reasons seniors stop driving at night. When FSD is managing the lane, the driver's burden of processing that visual stress is significantly reduced. Medical appointments, hospital campuses, parking structures, unfamiliar drop-off zones are high-stress environments. A co-pilot that handles steering and navigation makes these trips far more manageable. Highway merges, one of the most cognitively demanding driving tasks. FSD handles this with calm, consistent precision. I want to be careful not to overstate what FSD currently does. As of 2026, this is still supervised full self-driving. The driver must remain alert and ready to take over at any moment. This is not a robo-taxi. It is a very capable co-pilot. But for a senior who would otherwise give up driving entirely, a co-pilot changes everything. Reminder, this video is educational only. Tax rules discussed here are based on IRS guidance and publicly available reporting as of March 2026. Tax laws are complex and subject to change without notice. Please consult a licensed tax professional before making any financial decision. Let's talk about money you can actually access today, and what is no longer available, what ended, and you need to know this. The Federal Clean Vehicle Purchase Credit, the famous $7,500 tax credit, ended for new vehicles acquired after September 30th, 2025. This change came through the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed into law in mid-2025. Some older articles and videos still reference this credit as though it is current. It is not. If you buy a Model 2 when it releases, that specific credit will not be available to you. I want to be completely clear about that. What replaced it? The OBBBA car loan interest deduction. The same legislation created something new, a deduction of up to $10,000 per year in car loan interest on new U.S. assembled vehicles. This applies to loans originated between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. Here's what makes this particularly useful for many viewers. You can claim this deduction whether or not you itemize. It's an above-the-line deduction, meaning it comes off your gross income before calculating tax. And because the Model 2 is expected to be assembled at Giga Texas, which is in Austin, U.S. final assembly is likely to qualify. Income limits apply. The deduction phases out for single filers above $100,000 MAGI and for joint filers above $200,000. For most retirees and budget-conscious families, this phase-out won't be relevant. Note, leases do not qualify. This is for purchase loans only. Real-world example. Patricia, 62 years old, finances a Model 2 at $24,000 over 5 years at 6% interest. In year 1, she pays approximately $1,300 in loan interest. In the 22% tax bracket, that deduction saves her roughly $286 on her tax bill that year, and repeats each year she holds the loan. The Home Charger Tax Credit, but act before the June 30th, 2026. A federal tax credit covering 30% of home charger installation cost, up to $1,000, is still available, but only through June 30th, 2026, and only for homes in qualifying census tracts. Check eligibility at the Department of Energy's Alternative Fuels Data Center at afdc.energy.gov. We'll put that link in the description. State programs, where the real upfront money remains. With the federal purchase credit gone, state incentives have become the primary source of significant upfront savings. New Jersey currently offers a point-of-sale rebate of up to $4,000 on qualifying new EVs. Illinois offers up to $4,000 through mid-2026. Massachusetts offers up to $3,500 through its MOREV program. New York offers up to $2,000 at point of sale. Colorado's credit drops significantly in 2026, but for vehicles under $35,000, there may be additional credit available. State programs change frequently. Some run out of funding mid-year. The most reliable resource is afdc.energy.gov. Check it. Then call your state energy office to confirm current availability. Utility programs. Many electric utilities offer $500 to $1,000 in rebates for home charger installation, plus preferential overnight charging rates. Call your utility company directly and ask. Now let's talk about the risks, because this video would be incomplete without them. Charging at home is the foundation of the EV ownership math. If you own a home with a garage, you're likely set. If you live in a condo, apartment, or senior living community, home charging may be limited or impossible. Relying on public charging networks adds unpredictability. This is not a deal breaker for everyone, but it is the single most important practical question to answer before you commit. Battery replacement. LFP batteries are durable, but warranties typically cover 8 years or 100,000 miles. After that, replacement costs could run $7,000 to $10,000 out of pocket. For someone planning to own this car for 15 years, factor that into your long-term math. The technology learning curve. Almost everything in this car runs through a touchscreen. For smartphone-comfortable buyers, adaptation takes a few weeks. For buyers who strongly prefer physical controls, this requires genuine patience and practice. The timeline. We want to say this plainly. Based on the most credible analyst voices, this car may not be widely available until 2027. Do not organize your car purchase plans around an optimistic early 2026 delivery. Build flexibility into your timeline. Let's bring this all together. The Tesla Model 2, whatever Tesla ultimately calls it, is not currently in mass production. The price target of around $25,000 is real as a goal, and the competitive pressures from Chinese automakers make it a business necessity, not just a marketing promise. A path to a lower effective price through state incentives and the new OBBBA interest deduction exists for qualified buyers in the right states. But the car you've seen in headlines is still, as of today, a project in development with a realistic delivery window somewhere between late 2026 and 2027. What is real right now? For anyone buying an electric vehicle in 2026, the fuel savings are real. The maintenance savings are real. The insurance evolution toward technology-rewarded premiums is real. The new OBBBA loan interest deduction is real. And for older drivers navigating the deeply personal question of how much longer they can safely drive, the independence that FSD offers as a co-pilot is real, and it matters in ways that no spreadsheet will ever fully capture. Here is what I encourage you to do this week. Visit afdc.energy.gov and look up your state's current EV incentives. Call your insurance company and ask specifically about autonomous or technology-assisted driving discounts. Ask your utility company about off-peak EV charging rates. If you plan to finance, talk to a tax professional about the OBBBA interest deduction. And if you're helping an aging parent think through their next vehicle, have an honest conversation about what their real driving needs are. Not just the miles, but the anxiety, the fatigue, and what it would mean to have a capable co-pilot. None of this requires a decision today. It just requires being informed. If this video helped you separate fact from fiction on a topic that matters to your financial future, please hit that like button. It genuinely helps other people who need this information find it. Subscribe for more honest, no-hype breakdowns of financial and technology decisions for retirement and fixed income living. And please leave a comment. What is your biggest question or concern about making this kind of switch? I read every comment, and your question might become the next video. Thank you for watching. Drive safely, or better yet, let the technology help.